jersey, Alaphilippe is under some... Certainly doesn't want the camera here.
We're back. It seemed from the comments like a few of you actually enjoyed yesterday's analysis show, and we most certainly did too, so we thought we'll do another one.
Well, yeah, and also because today's stage was the most dramatic stage of all time. I mean, where do we even start then?
Well, we should start with another reminder that you should probably watch what happened on the stage first. We've got highlights right here on GCN Racing, so if you haven't caught up with them, you've got time to click away now.
Ready?
Right then, where do we start?
Well, with the cancellation of the stage.
Yes,
Oh
that
my
does
word.
seem like the sensible place to start, doesn't it? For the first time, I think ever, the ASO, the Tour de France organisers, were forced to cut the stage short. Reason being, there was a freak snow/hailstorm, which was so severe, it caused a landslide, which covered part of the descent to the final climb to the finish, which meant the riders couldn't pass. I mean, when you look at this picture, which was taken by Tim Harris on the ground there, they really had no option, did
Yeah, they didn't. It's not even any kind of like, the riders could have gone through that.
Yeah.
No, not even three-time world cyclocross champion Wout van Aert, if he was still in the race, could have ridden over that.
It's not bunny hoppable, is it?
I don't think it is. No. Although, can I just pull you up on something? That was not a freak event, apparently. We consulted GCN's...
The regular landslide.
Well, absolutely. We consulted GCN's unofficial meteorologist, Mike Broughton, and he said, no. You do occasionally get snow and hail associated with vigorous storm cells, which have a high vorticity. Anyway, I'll abridge it. He basically said it's like a summer thunderstorm, but at high altitudes.
Oh, right, you didn't abridge it at all in rehearsals.
No, I've made you sit through that several times.
And yes, we did the rehearsal and it was terrible, so hopefully we'll be better right now. So, it's not a freak snowstorm then.
No, it's not.
It's just a freak incident at the Tour de France that we've not seen before. As I mentioned, I don't think they have cut a stage short like that before. Stages have been shortened, but in advance. Otakam, I think, in '96, where
Remember it well.
Rees took the lead in the race. And then even Mont Ventoux, we remember that a couple of years ago for Chris Froome having to run after the accident with the motorbike. But Thomas de Gendt won the stage, and it wasn't at the top of the Ventoux because it was so windy on that exposed part near the top.
No, I think what was so odd about this one is watching riders getting told midway through the stage when the race is so on, it couldn't have been more on, and yet there you are, like saying, sorry, you're just going to have to climb in. I mean, poor old Egan Bernal, he looked so confused getting into the Ineos team car. It was almost as if he was wrestling with the idea that maybe this was an elaborate plan by the team to make Geraint Thomas team leader. Like, Egan, come on, sit inside. Rather than actually the fact that the stage was completely cancelled.
He looked a bit uncertain, didn't he? He was sort of checking around as he got into the car to make sure people weren't still racing. But understandable, really, that they were so confused because firstly, where they were, the weather was absolutely fine. Secondly, those earpieces are hard to hear at the best of times, aren't they? Let alone when you're going at 90 k's an hour down a descent. So, also, frankly, if I was up the front of the Tour de France stage, I'd have to take about 4 times for somebody to say it's been cancelled before I would actually stop racing, because you don't want to suddenly think, oh, it's been cancelled, let the wheel in front of you go, and then realise it was a false bit of information.
True, very true. What the tour organisers have done, obviously, is not completely annul the stage. They've taken the times at the top of the Col de l'Iseran, which was kind of the high point of the stage, wasn't it? It should have then gone down the descent and up another 7k climb to the finish in Tignes. It's taken them a long time to work out the results because there's no timing equipment up there. It's literally just a KOM. But they have done it.
They have. We've been waiting hours. We've still only got a top 5 for you at the moment, though. So there is a new yellow jersey. Egan Bernal of Team Ineos is in yellow. He's got a 45-second advantage now over a very disappointed Julian Alaphilippe. Third place is Egan Bernal's teammate Geraint Thomas at 1 minute and 3 seconds. Kruijswijk still in 4th place. He's at 1 minute and 15 now. And Manu Buchmann is now in 5th place at 1 minute and 42. So still very close, but lots of talking points from that.
Yeah, worth asking the question, Dan. Would Bernal have gone on to win the stage, do you think? Because it was a long way out, wasn't it? And yet, he was looking so good and so determined. Would he have held on?
Well, he was looking amazing on the climb, wasn't he? Everyone he caught from the breakaway, some brilliant climbers, he eventually cracked them, including eventually Simon Yates just before the top. He caught back up to Bernal on the descent. Whether or not he would have worked with him, I'm not entirely sure. But I actually feel quite sorry for Geraint Thomas, because where he was positioned, he couldn't really do any work on the climb. But the group with Kruijswijk in also had Kruijswijk's teammate Laurens de Plus in. He would have worked his bum off on the way to that final climb. Yeah,
his bum.
Yes, which could have quite easily closed the gap to Bernal. Geraint, you would have thought, would have been quite a bit fresher than the rest of them, having been able to sit on. So the Tour and the stage wasn't over for Geraint Thomas, but now with the situation he's in, you'd have to imagine that he's going to have to work for Bernal in tomorrow's stage, isn't he?
Yeah, I think poor old Geraint Thomas might actually be the day's big loser. There were some big losers today, and we'll get onto them in a moment, but yeah, poor old Geraint has come a cropper with that, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. Right, should we move on to Alaphilippe?
One of the day's big losers.
Yes,
Yeah.
he started to struggle with about 6 kilometres to the top of the Col de l'Iseran. That was after an acceleration by Geraint Thomas. He was already isolated after Team Ineos had done the pace setting on the lower slopes of that climb. By the top, he'd lost 2 minutes. Now, on the descent, when it was cancelled, he was visibly frustrated about it, but I was there thinking, well, actually, he might have cut his losses a bit having the cancellation of the stage, because I'm pretty sure that however much time he'd managed to make up on the descent, he would have lost double that on the final climb to the finish with the way that the others were going.
That's right. Your prediction that he was going to crack and finish outside the top 10 may well have come true.
Yeah.
But equally, I mean, you got to feel for him, and also the fact that even his team, Deceuninck Quickstep, took to Twitter to say how proud they were of everything he's achieved in this year's race, which was brilliant, a lovely gesture. But equally, it's effectively written him off, hasn't it? It's like, that's it, Alaphilippe's done.
Yeah.
Is he going to hold on to the podium?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah, don't worry, mate. We're proud of what you've done already. Hold on a second, it's not over yet. Might still come back tomorrow. Can I just say also that if we'd looked at the way that GC is now, before the start of the Tour de France, Ineos in first and third, you would have thought, just another boring Tour de France where they've been completely dominant from start to finish, 2 rides on the podium. But it's been far from that, hasn't it? And in fact, they've almost had an inability to dominate the race this year, and that has made it extremely exciting, I'd say.
Yeah, and I would say, I'm not an Ineos fanboy per se, but all credit to them, they haven't had the strength that they often have at the Tour, and so they've raced in quite a different way. Sending Bernal off. I think it's been good. Testament to the fact that they can think outside the box when they need to.
Well, yeah, you don't normally see them attacking with 6Ks to go to the top of the penultimate climb of the day, do you?
No, you don't.
Right, another big talking point from today, which under normal circumstances would have probably come right at the top of the show, given it wasn't so much other stuff going on. But Thibaut Pinot, absolute heartbreak for him. Reportedly hit his leg on a pair of handlebars a couple of days ago, and that injury got worse through yesterday's stage. Today, he clearly wasn't himself. He's got a muscle tear to the upper part of his thigh and climbed into the team car, exited the Tour de France. I mean, that was a big blow to him and his team.
Absolutely, wasn't it just? I mean, of all the riders in this year's race, it feels like Pinot has had, some of the highest highs and the lowest lows, doesn't it? And not just in this year's race, but throughout his whole career, really.
Yeah, he has. Well, he's kind of, when you look back through his Grand Tour results, he's started 12 Grand Tours and only finished 6 of them. The others have all been DNF, but he has been remarkably consistent in the ones that he has finished. So in his first ever Tour de France, he was 10th. In his other Grand Tour finishes, he's been 7th, 3rd, 16th, 4th and 5th. So a remarkable talent.
You'd take that, wouldn't you, if you were going to finish 6 Grand Tours? Yeah, finishing in the top 16. Weird level of consistency and inconsistency at the same time. Bradley Wiggins, interestingly, doing some amazing work on the back of the motorbike for Eurosport today, talked of Pinot's fragility, and I think that absolutely sums him up perfectly. He is incredibly talented, clearly, but often it's his head that lets him down, whether that's on descending or whether it's, climbing off races, illness, I don't know. But
sometimes it's just his body that gives way, isn't it? Like last year at the Giro d'Italia, he was looking good for a podium spot, and then on the penultimate day of the race, the last mountain stage, he'd got a fever overnight and ended up in hospital, in fact, and of course exiting the race as well. So
yeah,
you wonder whether it's ever going to happen for him at the Tour de France.
Well, off the back of this year, you'd give him another couple of years to try, wouldn't you? This was like, oh, you know what? Pinot really can do it.
Well, I think when the dust settles, he'll think that as well, won't he? So
I hope so.
He'll come back as motivated as ever. Right, well, it can be hard at all ends of the Tour de France, but particularly at the back, as I know only too well. Did you notice that Alex Dowsett and Jens Debusschere were off the back almost immediately today? Yeah,
it looked like a brutal start to the stage, didn't it? But it did look particularly painful seeing him going out the back. And we saw Jens Debusschere coming, was it second last up the Tourmalet?
Yeah.
And basically nearly keeling over into the barriers. And I did feel for him when I saw him going out the back today.
They came through the intermediate sprint well down on the front of the peloton. And you have to wonder, actually, whether they were they're still in the race because of the stage being cut short. They might have been outside the time limit.
Dan, are they still in the race?
Well, we don't know yet.
We haven't got official confirmation that they're still in the race.
Nothing on the race radio either at the moment.
No.
So we're not sure. But I did notice yesterday, Si, I tweeted about the start of yesterday's stage, how hard it was, and that when I was in a stage like that, I was just hoping and praying that a break would just go so it would just calm down slightly, because I'm always at my limit just trying to hang on. This morning before the stage, Alex Dowsett liked that tweet.
Did he?
So he might have already had a premonition that it wasn't going to be a great day in the saddle for
Poor
him.
old Alex. I bet he was just like, yeah, I like that one.
Yes.
Do you know who else it was a hard day for, by the way, before we leave today's stage? The spectators. Can you imagine being up at the finish in team? You've probably been there for days. You've camped out in the perfect spot to witness this epic Tour de France battle unfold.
Yeah.
And then over the race radio. I mean, they might even not. Oh, they probably did get to see the caravan at least. They probably got some free rubbish thrown out from the race caravan. But no racing. They'll just be like,
That would be horrific when you're like, so they do camp for days, don't they, to watch the Tour de France come through. You what? It's not coming through?
Yeah, quick, patch up the tent. We need to get to Val Thorens.
Should we just go home then? Well, I think they did get to see a podium ceremony at the end when Egan Bernal was finally brought to the finish line, but not exactly what they wanted to see.
But they do have one more opportunity if they can get their camper van off the mountain
over the landslide.
Well, yeah, they can't get the camper vans. If they've got a tent, they could hike off the mountain and potentially get to Val Thorens tomorrow.
Yes, well, let's talk about tomorrow's stage, shall we? Another short one at 130 kilometres, but it is pretty brutal, isn't it? And in fact, it's the highest mountaintop finish of this year's race, and a climb you know quite well.
I do, actually, yeah. So me and Jeremy went to ride it. If you've seen the video on GCN, you'll know we didn't stop at Val Thorens. We're pretty extreme, we kept on going. But actually, the tarmac climb itself is epic. It's 33 kilometres long. Not all that steep in its entirety, but steep at the bottom and steep at the top with kind of a flattish bit in the middle. But of course, that's just one climb of several, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's going to be another tough day. We're now going to make our predictions for tomorrow. We're on a bit of a roll with this, aren't we? Because we predicted Egan Bernal for the stage win yesterday. Well, I say on a roll. We've only done one, haven't we? But it was a 100% record.
Well, he didn't technically get the stage win, did he?
We're going to take that, though, surely. Well,
yeah, we'll take anything we can get. But yeah. Go on then, who are you going for?
Bernal.
Are you?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Actually, no. I think it's going to break, actually. I'll just go Lander.
Really?
We need to finish the video.
I think Simon Yates, actually. He was looking good. I reckon he's going to get his hat-trick.
Right, Lander, Yates. Let us know who you think is going to win stage 20 in the comments section just down below. Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to throw to another video now, so aren't we? It is the penultimate stage of the Tour de France tomorrow, and we've done a video with Chris all about it, and you can find that down here.
Yeah, definitely go check that video out.